Hey guys, so this is my own E30 project. It's a Series 2 318 with a M40 powerless engine, as you can tell. I am losing my clutch pedal when if I'm not completely to the ground, if I'm say 2 mil, 5 mil just above full extent of the pedal, I'll slowly start losing the control of the clutch, and it will start going away from me basically. So what I have surmised from this is that there is a deviation or wear point in the, or probably pitting in the master cylinder. So that's what I'm going to be changing today. So if we go inside the vehicle, and obviously up near our clutch pedal, you can see this tubular unit here. That is our clutch master cylinder. You can see that blue line coming through the bulkhead there. That is our supply from our reservoir, which I've already sucked down, which we were looking at in the engine bay there. I've sucked the fluid out of it with a vacuum drainer. You can do it some other way. And then as you can see, we're actually then going back through the bulkhead for our pressure line. So a higher pressure line, or down to the clutch basically, is running through the bulkhead. If we look at my new unit that I've got here, you can see that's exactly how we're looking at it. So this is going to the pedal and being actuated by the pedal being pushed in and out. These are our two mounting bolts, two 10 mils. That's where that supply line is going to run to, and then that's where our pressure feed, pressure line down to the actual clutch is going to come out. I've just got to remove this fitting that the manufacturers plug the holes with. So what I'll do now is I'll crack this line that we can see down here. So that's the other side of the master cylinder. We'll crack that line off. This is that other side of that hose that we're looking at in the footwell there. And as you can see, I've got the reservoir as empty as I can. I'll clean all that crap out of there before we fill it back up again. So yeah, stuff like that's not going to help our system. So what we'll do is we'll get this pressure line off so we can get the brake fluid out of the system, and obviously we'll put a rag or something underneath on the chassis rail, because we don't want to fill this chassis rail up with our brake fluid, and then we can start removing it from the pedal box side. So as you can now see, I've got that union loose, got that rag under it to catch the fluid. This is a second rag, as the first one was quite wet with fluid, so I don't want it to sit there and be soaking in brake fluid and get all over my chassis rail. So I've put another rag down there anyway. So now we're ready to take the line off in the inside, so the blue line, and undo our mounting bolts, and obviously our undo our pedal from the end of the rod. So I'll take you inside and we'll get to the mounting bolts, etc. So as I mentioned before, showing you with the new unit, there's two mounting bolts. One that's about here, one that's back here somewhere. Two 10mm. That one's very easily accessible, but this one at the front is a lot harder to get to. We're on a right-hand drive vehicle here, so what I do is I just push the accelerator to move that linkage out of the way, and I can get my 1/4 inch ratchet into the gap then. So we're working back in here, and the head of the ratchet is a little bit like running up against this mechanism. So just again, I'll just show you I'm pushing the accelerator, and then I'm only working with the cable that's there then. So that's how I can get that back bolt out. And then once they're cracked, you can just spin them out with your finger. And there we go, two of those holding it in. So as you can now see, I've actually got the master cylinder loose. Both mounting bolts are off. And I've also taken off the pinch bolt, which would be in through here into the pedal, and through that eyelet there. And it is a 17mm bolt and as you can see it's greased, and that is actually the surface that the pivot is running on, so that has to be greased and kept clean basically as well. So we need to reuse this. I guess if you're doing a manual swap, this is also a very much of a necessary component, having the actual bolt rather than just a regular bolt and nut. You could still probably be able to buy this from BMW anyway. So all I've got left is that supply line at the top. So I've got to take that elbow out with it basically, because the new one doesn't have it. So now that I'm completely loose, I should be able to work my way out and pop it out hopefully. So just to give you a better view of what we're looking at here, with all the mounting bolts and the piston bolt at the front here taken out, I can actually now pull the flex that's left in that supply hose through the bulkhead a little bit more, so I can actually access and get this elbow out of the master a little bit easier. So I'm actually using a trim tool for popping door panels off, and I'm going to use that on the supply line and just go into the supply line and just try and pop it out of the rubber sealing grommet basically. So I'll try that, and I'll get it out and let you know. So that has actually worked really well. Like I said, I just used a trim tool just to squeeze in that between that boss and the actual master cylinder itself, and we've actually managed to pop it out of the grommet itself. Sorry about the poor lighting. It's just, as you can imagine, being under a dashboard here, it's quite difficult to get it to show on a camera of what we're actually doing, but you can see what I've done is I've gone in and just basically lifted this up like that and just popped it out of here basically. So I just slid in across here and popped that up. It was quite a little bit of a wiggle out, as long as you don't go mad and try and like, because you'll break this or damage this. But I just basically wiggled it out and worked it up while pulling down on the master, and we've got that pipe out. So now we should be ready to just lift it out like that, and then we go. There's our old master cylinder, probably 30 years old, maybe more. So we're going to install this Febi branded one. It's what I could get, so that's what I'll use. The original one is a Fag brand. I probably would prefer to go with original equipment, but hey, you know, as long as it works, that's all good. So I'll transfer this rubber grommet over, and then we'll install the new one. So I'm back at that same spot again now with a nice new one. Popped that hose in. It was a little bit tricky. Don't use any silicone or anything like that as lubricant. If you can use anything, use brake fluid. That's what's meant to be in the system, so I only use that on the rubber steels. My new master cylinder came with a nice new grommet in the top here. As you can see, that's the old one. So that's what you're trying to push into, and it is a little bit of obviously a tight fit because we want this to seal. So yeah, just be patient, work it in gradually, try not to roll the seal or damage the seal, and maybe a little bit of brake fluid, clean brake fluid as a lubricant. So I've also got it through the firewall, as you can see, or the bulkhead, whatever you want to call it, and I've got my grommet popped in nicely, so we're not going to have any horrible noises or anything like that. So what we'll do is we'll offer this up to the housing. We'll pull that low pressure blue hose back through the bulkhead, and we'll get it all installed. So now we're fully installed with the new master cylinder. I've got the two 10mm, and you can just see there. Other one, you just have to take my word, is just over the top here. And I've also got that bolt, as you can see there, that pinch bolt onto the. If I move the pedal, you can see the 13mm nut is the pedal side, and the 17mm with that bearing position that I showed you, that running face, is into the actual eyelet of the piston of the master cylinder. As you can see, there's a little bit of red grease hanging out there. I've actually re-greased the surface of that bolt, so then it's nice and free and it's not wearing through the plastic of that eyelet. As we showed before, the blue hose is back on the top of the master cylinder, and we're through the bulkhead with our rubber grommet back sealing us from the engine bay. As you can see, I've got my hard line back into the new master cylinder, and we can see the other side of that grommet now through the bulkhead. It's an 11mm hex, so you need an 11mm spanner, preferably a flare nut spanner. So yeah, that's ready to go, and we'd be ready to bleed the system now. So that's basically it, down for our master cylinder install. So I actually did go ahead and fit a new braided clutch line. I wasn't too fussed about it being braided, it's just my one was split and you could actually see the inner core. So this was I think on special at Garagistic or something like that. It was a while ago I bought it, so, and I just haven't gotten around to fitting it because I've been getting around to putting that master cylinder in. So I thought I'd do them both at once, and I've also got my slave now round the right way. It was originally round the upside down for some reason, so the bleed nipple was at the bottom. I guess that was only for ease of access, but I would like the bleed nipple to be at the top so we can actually get the air out. When I was flipping the slave cylinder over, I did notice there was a slight weep from the front seal. Now I did, as you may be able to see, replace this slave only a couple of years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago, so it hasn't really done a lot of work since, but it may be an inferior product, I don't know, but I think I'll try, and if there's availability of a genuine one, get it from BMW in Germany. Maybe we need to replace that down the track, but we'll see how our clutch pedal performance is and go from there. But I just thought I'd show you this, that I'd fitted this line also while I was in there, so we'll see if there is actually any difference, or if it's actually worth putting a braided one on. I don't see it myself, but maybe yeah, like I have got the braided lines on the front, same reason. My clutch, not my clutch lines, my brake lines were actually split, so I've actually gone through and fitted these on the front, but I still need to get round to doing the back. And I've also got the purple tag rack in here from an E46 330 Ci or something like that, I think it was. Still need to get around to getting the boots and the still using the E30 inner and outer tie rods, so I need to change all that setup as well. So for any more E30 content, if you'd like to see anything else or any more suggestions on E30s or anything like that, happy to post more videos on any repairs requested. Say there's a few bits and pieces this car needs. It is my daily driver at the moment. It's a little bit rough and whatnot, but yeah, just a 318 IS, not an IS, sorry, I wish it was an IS, 318i M40. It's got the bottle caps on it at the moment. It should have the 14-inch basket weaves, which are at home, but the tyres are done on them. So yeah, just let us know, shoot us a thing in the comments, as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this channel growing, and like I say, happy to make more E30 videos or old Beamer videos.